Hello, everybody. Happy holidays. Hello, Cobi. Happy holidays.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It is the final stream of the year. I'm here in my AI generated mountain living room with my fire. I don't know if you can see my fire behind me. I'm well prepared for my hunkering down for the holiday break. How goes your preparations?
Oh, pretty good. Nothing too crazy. Just, I guess, getting ready for all the fun family stuff.
I love it. Well, welcome everybody to DevCycle Wrapped 2023. It's a special feature focus stream. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But because I haven't introduced myself yet, I'm Andrew, developer advocate at DevCycle. This is my good friend Cobi. He is the head of product. I don't even actually know your job title at this point.
It doesn't really matter.
And we're here to share a little bit about kind of the journey that DevCycle has been on over the past year. This is very much a chill hangout. We're here to just kind of talk about cool DevCycle stuff. I was just before the stream got live, I was trying to get some like Christmassy background music, but it's like too big. So I'm going to do some like creative music editing as we do this, and I might be able to get some good holiday music going.
You couldn't do among the AI generation theme, just get like the AI music generation to create a Christmas-like song?
Oh, that would have been, see, this is why we should always prep for these streams. I often use stream beats. I don't know if you've heard of that before. So it's by this electronic artist named Harris Heller, and all that he does is just produce things that can be used on stream. It's fantastic. And he actually has like a a specific holiday playlist, but they're all like uncompressed wave files. So they're like 40 megabytes a song. And the limit for StreamYard to upload is definitely not that. It's like 30 megabytes. So I'm sad that we may not get some holiday music, but that's okay because I also want this stream to not be taken down for DMCA purposes because I think this is going to be a good one. Yeah, I never use my banners in the stream, so I'm going to use it. It is feature focus. Welcome everybody. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here. And I think with that, maybe we should just kind of jump into it, start looking at some of the stuff that we did this year, like kind of jump back to January and see where we were there, maybe kind of talk through some of the exciting things that happened. And if you are on stream and you are wanting to share kind of your favorite features that you have seen, please let us know in chat. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love you to be part of this conversation. And if you're catching this later in the VOD on Twitch or X or LinkedIn or wherever you're catching it, be sure to leave a comment. Let us know which of our kind of like favorite features are your favorite features. So maybe how should we do this? I'd had a thought that we would kind of just go to like the DevCycle blog, because I feel like a lot of things kind of come out there, and kind of just explore from there. And then
you do that, you go to the changelog or
let's do that. That's a smart decision. We have this changelog. Maybe we should use the changelog that we have. And if you're in chat right now, by the way, also, I should say, let us know how the audio is. Let us know if you've got any feedback, if anything could be better here. Let's jump into it. So I'm going to share my screen over. Actually, I'm going to keep this up for a second just so people can see this. All right, let's share screen. Share screen, higher screen. This over here. This is what I was talking about before. This is Harris Heller, Lo-Fi Christmas. This is going to be what I listen to for the rest of the day now. Y'all may not be able to hear this because of the nature of our stream, but go and check it out. Harris Heller, Lo-Fi Christmas.
But this isn't, we're not currently listening to Eggnog.
We're not. I wish. Hold on. We'll listen. You know what? So we can't listen to his holiday stuff. I'm actually on the wrong screen too. Stop screen, present, share screen, entire screen. I think it's this one that I want. Yeah, entire screen's this one. There we go. No, we're not, but I'll throw on some Harris Heller now. Not his Christmas stuff, but we'll switch it up. Just like, oh, great. Actually good. You know what? I feel like this works. We'll give Harris some love. In fairness, it all sounds exactly the same.
This is a bit different than the last. This is very, now it's starting to come up. I was feeling more like this is nap time music.
I like it. Yes. All right, we're going for that's what we're going for. We're going for these holiday nappy vibes. I like it. Okay, so we've got this up. This is what we're looking at. We're gonna head over to let's go over just the docs because we can look at it from there. So if you don't know this already, you can find our changelog like everywhere. It exists in all of the places just by kind of clicking on the bell icon anywhere that you go. And so when you're in here as well, if you ever click on this what's new on DevCycle thing, it'll actually bring you through to our entire kind of changelog that we release on Beamer. So yeah, I guess we're going back in time. We're going all the way back.
Yeah, I think you gotta scroll quite a bit.
That's a good sign. That means we've been releasing just a couple of things have come out. All right, we're March. We've got October.
I think you're a little bit.
I went past it.
Yeah,
I went too far. I got too excited. All right. So first thing of 2023, 2 weeks in. Real-time updates released. I feel like this was a really, really big deal when it came out.
Yeah, it was very important for us. One of those like critical things that I don't know. It's interesting. I think it definitely makes the experience of using it as like someone on QA or as an engineer just like a lot better. The like practical value of like is is this change going to make it out to all my users instantly, is maybe like less valuable than like just the experience of QAing your work. But like, it's quite nice when you're working on a React app and you go and toggle something, and then as soon as you hit save, it's live on like your other tab. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And it's funny too, when I joined the DevCycle team, the first conference event that I went to, this was the only thing that I think fully understood about DevCycle, was this real-time update thing. And so we did this as a demo, and devs that were there were just kind of over the moon that we had that kind of functionality, which is great. Yeah, that's exciting. All right, so then January set 2 days. 2 days into like the second week of January, we're just like pushing stuff out.
After the real-time updates, after the couple months of work on that whole thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it only takes us 2 weeks. It only takes us 2 weeks to push out a feature. We're that good. I guess I feel like all of these things would have been like late 2023 editions.
Yeah, they would have been something that we worked on for a bit. Although I don't know, the Flutter like most new SDKs, and this is where I guess like feature requests are super valuable. New SDKs actually only take a few weeks, which is cool. It's all built from like a common core, so the Flutter plugin could have been started in the first. Like it's hard to think back a year ago like what that was, but the Flutter SDK could have been started first week of Jan and shipped by that point in time. Like that's not unreasonable to think.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and if anybody's interested, our CTO Jonathan did an awesome talk at Jonathan Norris, Toronto. I think it should be up here. No, not that one. I'll see if I can find it and share it afterwards. But Jonathan did a great talk at the Toronto JS event. Oh, it was at APIs and IPAs. That's where it was. Why am I not just going to our YouTube channel? Goodness gracious. All right, let's go over to our YouTube channel. If you look under, there we are right now. If you look under DevCycle on display, I think it's in here. Yeah, there we go. WebAssembly. So this is this talk. Jonathan actually shares how those SDKs were created, and like why we did it that way, and sort of why this is a feature. So it's a really good talk. I super highly encourage anybody that's interested in like why DevCycle specifically decided to do this to check it out. Yeah, there's lots of other talks in there too, like some talks from conferences and events and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. That's it. We do have a few that are native now. So our Go SDK is native Go. Do we have other SDKs that are native now?
Yeah, I mean, the WebAssembly languages are primarily to help with the standardize the local bucketing server-side SDKs. We don't really use it for any of the like client-side SDKs, and we don't use it for languages where I guess like latency and performance is critical, at least where WebAssembly wouldn't be an added benefit to that. So like Go, as an example, is meant to be like you choose it because you're looking for a highly performant language. So going pure native in Go gives you a lot of benefits.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and it's interesting too. I do feel like we like Wasm is fairly new on the scene, right? But is incredibly popular. And so I think it actually has provided like a really big benefit to have that kind of core there, even just for us to kind of stay modern with stay at the kind of leading edge of what's happening in the industry. Yeah. All right, so January 17th, and then February, big things come out. DevCycle Discord. What was being used before? Did we have anything before?
No, we didn't have like an open community concept. So we just had, our support was either through like for bigger clients, like direct Slack, right? Or in-app chat on like via intercom, things like that. Obviously usual email support, but yeah, I think opening up a actual proper community is great. Like having people actually be able to like just drop their questions in, see what other people are asking. Yeah, I think that was a long time coming for us.
Yeah, and I feel like Discord did something that I don't even know. Slack was great for community platforms, but like Slack was always it was built to be an internal chat tool for companies, right? And like I knew a lot of folks that were using it for community driven stuff, and it just like the feature set didn't quite seem to align with this community stuff.
I don't mind like some Slack communities. I think like there's pros and cons of each. Like I think there are a few that do a good job. I've quite liked like say the Mixpanel Slack community.
Okay.
I think they do a pretty good job there. But yeah, like some of the like it's nice that like for at least community stuff, the fact that you can have like the audio kind of rooms, you can do the forums, like thread, like I think Discord does threads better, right? Like in ways where you can have like real kind of like ongoing discussion and things like that and properly resolve stuff. Like, I don't mind Slack for some of that stuff. I think people have used it well, but yeah, Discord probably is a bit better.
Yeah, I will say I'm very surprised, and I'll pull this off just so I don't dox myself. But Slack,
go for it.
It will happen. I mean, listen, this is not how I want to end 2023. Let me just go into the right one here, and I'll share this again. So I have been finding some really awesome communities that are out there that are still using Slack. And like, I've got a lot, like I think every tech company in the world now that is developer facing has Slack communities, and there's some really good ones out there, or has Discord communities. But I find that like local communities also seem to be really kind of like still leaning into using Slack over Discord. So like Toronto JS, for anybody that is watching this and you're interested in like, what's a good tech Slack for me to join? Toronto JS Slack is really good. If you're in the developer relations space, the DevRelX channel is pretty good. Also, have you seen this meme challenge? Like, developer humor can get pretty cringy, and so I love that they're willing to give money for some of that.
For that cringiness?
For that cringiness, I love it. CNCF community also, like, this is really, I don't think I fully appreciated just how big the CNCF was before DevCycle got really involved in CNCF. Mm-hmm. And so like CNCF community, also the Doc Native, or like the data on Kubernetes community, very similar to Cloud Native, but not quite. And then there's a few other local ones, like Vancouver. It's got a developer community. It's pretty quiet. Ottawa's got a developer community here. The YYJ Tech Slack is like a pretty massive one. They've been around forever.
What's YYJ?
YYJ is Victoria. Yeah. So this was like created, I don't know, like a while ago, and it went through a lot of iterations. The West Coast tech scene, especially in Victoria, is a very insular, it's an insular place. And like, this is kind of the one shared space that everybody had. And so it's gone through a lot of iterations over the last little while, but super active. And so, yeah, there's some cool Slack communities, but also like my Discord is constantly, let me unfull screen this. My Discord also is like fully blowing up all the time. So obviously the DevCycle, we've got ours. All the other feature flag players have also got, let me get this wrong one there, pull that up. All the feature flag players. So Flagsmith has got one, not super active, Flip It, Launch Darkly. And then there's some other really great ones like, have you used Stack Blitz before?
I haven't.
StackBlitz, like a cloud IDE, really cool. They got a pretty active community. If you're a new developer and you're looking to get connected with other developers and to learn stuff, Kunal Kushwaha, who's the DevRel manager at Sivo, is also a content creator, and he created this We Make Devs community. So I've been working with him there for a while. Cloud Query, Directus, there's some really good tech related Discord servers out there to join.
You are in all the Discord servers, huh?
So we were doing a student program in a previous iteration, and so I got to join all of the student engineering discords, and like I don't know why I haven't left them. I just kind of like seeing what's popular in the student space, and then like there's some other ones that are just really interesting, like the Cloudflare developers. Like this is like, I feel like if you want to see what a Discord community like should look like, it's like looking at ones like the Cloudflare developers. One Signal is okay, but like you can totally see the difference between like a One Signal and AppSmith, which is a little bit more well structured, and then Cloudflare developers, which has just got like so many, like how many?
Well, I mean, the scale is probably a whole other level. So you have
Yeah.
like orders of magnitude difference in terms
Yeah.
of like, one, the activity, then two, the structure that you need to manage that activity is probably just like, yeah.
I will say though, like I do love our Discord in a lot of ways. It's not that I think that our Discord is, it's not super loud all the time, but you can reach everybody. So like if you're watching the stream and you want to find Cobi or find me, or you want to find our CEO or like an engineer on our team, everybody's on Discord. Everybody's kind of checking it every once in a while. There's great questions that are being asked. There's like lots of opportunities in here, and like it's super searchable. So chances are if you had an issue, somebody else had too. And I think we've structured this really well. Like Vic did a really good job setting this up in terms of like getting it started and then kind of coming in, and Terene had a lot of experience in running Discord communities before. And so I think we're set up for scale in here. So once this starts to grow, I think it's going to be really good. Yeah, but I totally agree. A lot of benefits to Slack and a lot of communities still there. I think
the setup is super cheap on Slack, right? Like you don't have to think about it as much. So if you're thinking about kind of like volunteer communities, things like that, yeah, Slack is just so easy to get going.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've told you this before, Cobi. I probably say this every time we're on stream. I love PHP. And so
I don't know if you say that because you do love PHP or because you like it gets you a reaction.
It does. No, I love it. I love it so much. Although Nick and my last stream where we went over the Beth stack, I had dreams about it that night of like, do I need to rebuild everything in this new modern Java? Am I a JavaScript developer now? And the answer was no, because then I realized that would be a lot of work and harder to host. But years ago, I found this like this Flarum forum software. It's like you can run this on like a Raspberry Pi, and I was seeing like a ton of companies that started to use this for their support over a what if they
as like a help center kind of concept?
Yeah, and so this is like they built this around like extensibility, and it was really interesting because not that it really matters, but they're like launching a new model where they're going to be doing like the kind of open core and then selling stuff. Anyways, but there's a lot of companies that are using them too, and so I like that there's this even mix now of like forum, Slack, Discord. It's very cool. All right, let's close this stuff down. That's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about all the features, and that was just one. All right, what else did we have? Feature importer.
Yep. Super valuable. Thinking about getting like just that question of like if you have flags somewhere else, if you're coming from another platform, how do you migrate easily, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like, so it's interesting because right now it's limited to Launch Darkly, right? So if you want to import from Launch Darkly, but I think one of the really cool things about this growth of open feature is now I think those importer tools are going to be much more valuable because it's just slight changes that you're making. So it's not going to be this huge engineering lift to do it,
And the importer is open source. It is like all it's really doing is looking for like common, like looking for key structure using our API to then like create kind of like what it's finding from, either your internal tool or some other tools, kind of like structure of flags. So it's, can definitely be adapted in various ways.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing, right? Is like, also feel like February 2023, there were also only like 5 real players in this space, right? Like it was still pretty small. I've been blown away. I don't know if you've been following, but I have been creating this awesome feature flag management repo to try and get it out there. And so I put out to the community on Open Feature. I was like, hey, can you go fill in like some open feature management systems? And I was thinking, oh, there'll be like 5 or 6. So like I've had to break it down into like fully open source projects versus like technology specific implementations. Some of these I'd never even heard of before. And like, it's
just like the technology specific, like the Django specific or the Laravel specific.
I kind of like the idea though, right, of like having it in there, but even like this like the full multi-language platforms, like there's a lot more out there than I thought there were. And I actually need to go in here and do a little bit more, because like really AB Tasty and some of these other ones are not feature flag management platforms. They're A/B testing platforms that use feature flags.
Yeah, how are you? I guess what's the? It's explicitly multi-language. The others are like hyper-specific, and then essentially open feature ones would likely be multi-language. Like that's kind of, but these are the ones that support open feature. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the idea here is like initially I want to get this just out there in the world, and then we could start to filter down now, and then really trying to call out, like the open feature SDK ones, like that are like fully open source projects. I don't really know what this is going to look like. I need to like run it through some AI and say, what do you think the best structuring for this is? Also I'm realizing, is DevCycle not in here?
It is. It's under your open.
All right, there we go.
That's why I was a little bit confused about the structure of the thing, but
your own company is listed lower down. It proves that we're not here for the marketing, but this should be all alphabetical, and I need to update this because it's definitely not alphabetical.
Quite. I didn't realize that Growthbook is fully open source. Was that is that a recent thing?
I don't know actually, but like I
guess they are cloud, but then you can do a self-hosted. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And that seems to be the way to do it, right? Is like you have your cloud hosting version, and then you also have like your self-hosted version. So
it's like Posthog did that, but then they reverted that, didn't they?
Oh, really? Really? I wonder. Hold on. Where's Posthog hiding in here? Let's search for it. Posthog.
It says open source, but I know I was playing around with them, and I got this like email basically being like, we're not supporting this anymore. So maybe it's... it seems like it's still kicking. I don't know.
Where is their GitHub? Posthog on GitHub. Holy, that's a lot of docs. Open source, hobby deploy, Posthog cloud. Yeah. So they're definitely pushing they're pushing their cloud version now. So technically you can open source it. It should scale to 100,000 events per month. That's not bad, actually. Like that's good for most people. But I also think spinning up a feature flag management platform, if you're not doing that many, would be challenging.
Yeah, I mean, Posthog is very much, I think, more so focused on the analytics side. But...
Yeah, for sure. So, but again, and I think like jumping back to the migration thing, like now, so open feature, if you haven't been following the news, we care a lot about this. So open feature has just been graduated into incubating status with Cloud Native Computing Foundation, which is a big deal. Basically it means that like it's more and more becoming accepted as like the de facto standard for feature flagging, which hopefully will mean that companies are all going to adopt or adapt their SDKs to sort of follow this standard. And if they do that, that also means that building an importer to like kind of pull from any one of these open feature providers should be a lot easier, which I think is really exciting.
Definitely.
All right. So what else do we have here? Variable archiving in March. So this wasn't a default feature originally. You couldn't archive.
No. I mean, if you think about the arc of a startup, think about the functionality to create and build and put things in, and maybe spend a little bit less time at the outset of like, how do you clean things up? So I think there's a bunch of other things that you'll see kind of later on in the year that do focus on kind of the like, how do you clean things up? But yeah, so one of the ways that I think anyone would want from different kind of like resources in the platform is not to just have to like delete stuff, but to be able to decommission, archive, clean up, but not
that makes sense.
Blow away.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like that's the thing, right? Even on was it GitHub that added some more gatekeeping to their removal process of repositories? So like you could no longer copy and paste into the text box because like people were deleting them and then be like, oh, I wish that I hadn't deleted that thing. I wish I could recover it. So very cool. All right. So then March 2022, we got a new quick start.
Yeah, just a better way of guiding people through getting started with DevCycle, helping to make it easier to discover, parts of the platform quickly.
So this was this is the banner that people see now, right? So if you log into DevCycle.com, hopefully I don't want to log into that org. I do not want to be messing with production stuff today.
Yeah, you'll need. I guess it doesn't matter. You can go to any and then just say yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and so if you're ever on here and you're like wanting to introduce like the concept of feature flagging, there are some cool things coming to, or how to feature flag with DevCycle. There are some ridiculously cool onboarding things coming in the very near future. But if you ever click on your profile image and just click Quick Start, it'll bring back this like 3-step process and like we'll walk you through the process and kind of get you where you need to go. But
that's about to go away.
Oh, it's leaving. It's leaving. You know what, though? It's about to be replaced by something much, much cooler, I think.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and also, I guess I don't know if have we announced example apps, or are they kind of still in kind of like testing right now?
No, I mean, there's like a ton of example apps. We in the interim we have added this in here. So while we're working through a very like guided onboarding experience that pulls you through example apps, we're now listing these here. If you click into like the React example app, actually, one of the things that we also have here is this ability to kind of like create a demo feature automatically that like is designed to interact with this example app, so you don't have to like go and create the feature flags in the platform and make sure it matches. It's just like there. So
did we just level up in DevX? I feel like developer experience just got a whole lot smoother. Damn.
Always trying.
I love that. Yeah, so if you're watching the stream and you haven't tried this out, go check it out. Not all of the sample apps are ready to go yet.
You should click on that though.
Which one? This one? Let's see. All right.
Yeah, just click on you just do the click here.
All right, so this is resource feature and key hello. So is a lot of this coming just from like the URL parameters? Is that what it's reading? Nice.
Yep. So you could technically, so it is just running like basically, I mean, like some APIs in the back end. So you could just modify that link with URL params to create whatever like feature you want. Yeah.
Okay. So create an example in real-time demo by confirm you'll be adding a new feature with the name Hello Togglebot to your project real-time demo. I don't even know what real-time demo is.
Yeah, you can just delete it afterward anyways.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, well, with all the variables too?
Yeah.
That's nice. But this is set, like the Hello Togglebot feature is like set within our kind of back end, right? Like if you create the Hello Togglebot feature, it's always going to have these same variables, I'm guessing.
No, like that. It's that specific like API and stuff is like the thing that's creating it. So
Yeah.
it's not that like I don't know if you created like a feature called Hello Togglebot on your own, it's not going to automatically be propagated with these things.
Okay, but if you did it through that URL parameter, it would. Yeah. I love that. That's super clean. Wow. All right. Watch out, other feature flag providers. You're getting shown how it's done. That is simple. It's a simple solution and yet very smooth. Because I mean, this is a thing, right? I think if you're new to feature flagging and you've never kind of been here before on a stream and seen DevCycle, like the downside to the feature creation process is that it does take a little bit of time to do. And so if you want to get set up for the first time, you have to jump through a couple steps. And so we just replaced about 6 different steps with a single click, which is pretty fantastic for getting used to the platform.
Yeah, and for us, one of the things here that we're kind of like glossing over is that we do some things that are pretty unique than every other platform, like the way we have multiple like flags, which we call variables within each feature, and there's that kind of like structure here, trying to like make that easy to understand and to highlight through the example apps, through that onboarding flow is something that we're excited to play around with.
Yeah, this is awesome. Oh, and more to come on that as we kind of go through the rest of as we kind of keep going through the checklist. So sadly,
we're talking about it here. It's about to go away.
It's about to disappear, but it will be replaced by something equally fantastic. Yeah. So then March 24th. Some cool stuff. I mean, this is big, maybe less for the developer, but definitely for like anybody in charge of getting set up here. Like, actually, as a developer, I don't want to be able to turn things off that shouldn't be turned off. So really, like the fine-grained permissions is great.
Well, funny for me from a product perspective, as head of product, like my goal for our product is that even if you're like an enterprise company, you don't actually want to turn on permissions, that we've created the guardrails, the visibility, everything such that like permissions doesn't actually make sense. Because permissions in terms of like governance is basically just saying like you're not allowed to do anything in certain scenarios where like if we're delivering on the platform that I think we can be, at the end of the day, what I want is, a co-op engineer in their first week to, when you say you want to be able to ship to prod, well, they should be able to like also ship a flag and turn that flag on in production in their first week. And if you have that confidence, that means that you wouldn't have limited out their permissions. So I think the guardrails, everything, but yeah, okay, some organizations will need permissions. So yeah, we're going to give you the permissions that you need to be able to like manage that. But ideally, the majority of our customers just like the way that we are helping them to keep them safe without having to like lock it down.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen this before, I wonder if I'm locked. I think I'm locked down in the.
You're probably in prod, yeah.
In prod, like I think so. If you haven't seen this, if you've only ever created your own features, you'd obviously never be locked down. But like I think if I go into anything here, I'm going to be locked down from doing anything.
Oh no! It looks like you somehow have that permission.
I have the power. Probably not in all of the places, though.
That was probably a mistake.
It's like live on stream, we've discovered that Andrew now has the power. You know what? I should have known this too, because I did this at when we were at KubeCon. I turned things off that I shouldn't have turned off. Maybe that's why. I think that's I was doing some beta stuff, but I don't think I have. Yeah, I actually do. I have the power everywhere. But if you were in here, you would basically kind of see that it's grayed out and you're not able to change things in production. So you can still see everything. You just can't actually like make any major changes in production, except with self-targeting, right? You can do self-targeting in production.
Yep.
So like that's the kind of the other cool thing here. And we'll talk about self-targeting because it's further down the pipeline. But yeah, I think it's very cool. All right. And then another one, March 20. Oh, this was a big week for releases. Dang.
Yeah, so this is for our feature opt-in. So improving the widgets that we like that you're able to embed that control basically like self-serve feature opt-in. So if you have, if you're trying to run like a lab section to your website, or you want to give people the ability to like personalize, we're actually running the widget, I guess, in the early access section above. But yeah, just providing more ways to do to allow you to use that drop-in widget. You can obviously, some companies don't want to use the drop-in widget, they'll use APIs to run this. But yeah, if you just want to be able to use this but customize it in simple ways, drop it in.
Yeah. So if you want to find it, go to your profile settings or just click the gear, like save yourself one step. And then if you just click on feature opt-in, like it'll give you can customize like your company colors and give yourself your own custom image and text and watermarks. Like you have the ability to customize a lot of things, and then get a preview of what that'll look like there too, which is very it's very cool and definitely worth checking out. Also, I'm pretty sure Mark and I built one using the API. So there's like lots of ways to kind of do this. All right, let's jump back over to our list. So opt-in widgets, Angular and React. Who's using Angular?
Bunch of people.
A lot of people. There's a whole, I just saw there's a stream that just came out today by a content creator that we work with, and it's talking about how Angular is cool again. Initial variable key and type. Now this is old hat now, right? Like this is something that I think I would take advantage of now. But it's such an interesting thing.
Well, so this has to do with like our functionality around like that multiple variables per feature thing. So to simplify that concept, we were always creating an initial variable under each feature, like basically saying, okay, regardless, you've created this feature, we're going to create like a Boolean variable with the same name as the feature, but that doesn't always make sense. So this kind of allowed you to customize a bunch of that stuff. Upon feature create. So if you don't need a Boolean, you don't have to go and like delete or edit that variable, just modify it here as you're creating the feature.
I dig it.
Just a little quality of life thing.
Yeah. Now there's a big thing missing between March 27th and April 14th.
April Fools?
April Fools! Maybe. Let's see. Boom. Oh, that was actually March. Oh, geez. I didn't realize that was March. Yeah, because this is when we joined the team.
I assumed it was. I always thought it was earlier than that. I always think it was like back in Jan or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was April 1st. Goodness. Yeah. So
it feels like we've been working together forever.
Forever. It's because DevCycle is blowing up right now. We're so popular, and it's all because our two teams
Battlesnake.
All because of Battlesnake. Do you know what's funny is I find it interesting that, and I mean, I feel like this is the whole thing, right? It's like if you don't own a yellow car, then you'll never see yellow cars. But if you buy a yellow car and you're driving in one, you'll always see them. Have you ever heard that before? Does that make any sense to you? It's like
it doesn't, in that like 90% of cars are like white, black, and gray. And like I'm always disappointed at the lack of any color. Like maybe 5% are red, and then like the other 5% of all cars are some other color. Yeah. And it's just like people need more
color,
flair in their lives.
More flair. I'm with you 100%. But like I'd never heard of feature flags before the acquisition, and now feature flags are like the new hotness. Like genuinely, I never thought that like a conditional statement in code, an if else statement would be so hot, but if else is hot right now. And yeah, we just happened to be joining the team at the right time. All right, so we got initial variable key, we got all that stuff, variable reassociation. This is also a big-ish deal, like the ability to associate a variable with a different feature.
Yeah, so we always kind of allowed this via the API, but again, the startup kind of thing, and the simplification concept, like as we were building up things, we wanted to make sure it wasn't like we weren't overcomplicating things for people as we were trying to figure out how to describe this, because like I said, multiple variables per feature, we're like the only ones who do this. So one of the other aspects there is you can also transition variables to other features. You can move them around features the way like you just control variables. So yeah, this was this idea of, okay, cool, I had this variable on this other feature before, now I want to associate it with another one, and just providing kind of like an easy way to do that.
And it's so interesting too, right? When you think about so many of these tools and platforms that have the ability to like kind of group things under other things, you generally don't get the ability to move them around. So yeah, like quality of life, but definitely a really useful one. Oh, I remember this. I remember this code sample update. This was actually a pretty it was a hard, not difficult thing to implement, but like actually made a huge difference.
Yeah, because it just like syncs with it from our GitHub repos and makes it easy to do that first installation. So you have to make sure you're not on curl, I guess. Anything else?
Yeah, so if you haven't seen this, so if you go and like click on something, so like the Flutter client, and then you click whatever variable you're working on, you can, so a couple things will happen. You'll get this sample app. So that sample app stuff that we were looking at before, if you click on this, it'll bring you over to the GitHub repository. So you can actually just kind of like follow step by step to get it set up. You'll also get like a quick link to the documentation for that. But then the really cool thing is the installation instructions, because like 90% of the process is just getting it installed into your project. And so this actually has you do it. And then you also get your sample usage in here. So rather than going and having to spin up a whole new Flutter app to see how it works, which we're making really easy for you, this actually sort of gives you like, here's a really basic implementation of kind of how this looks. And what I really love about this too is like, so again, PHP server, like this makes sense to me, the structure of this, and I can kind of see how all of this works. And because all of these code samples are very similar, you can kind of go and like, oh, so I know like JavaScript, I want to go and now like, I don't know, I want to see what the Go server looks like. And you can kind of see the small shifts in kind of the language specific pieces, but it all kind of is the same fundamental implementation, which is really cool. And the cool thing here is as well, it actually gives you the key in the code. So you could just click this copy button, or you can click the key copy button and just grab the key, which is not as like, doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but otherwise to grab the key, you kind of need to like go into your keys and like go through a whole process here. So I think that's definitely a big deal. Like just that code sample section is huge.
Small but big deal.
Small but big. Oh yeah, and then April, that Datadog. So this was an interesting one. So what did we discover? I think so. Nick, who if you watched, if anybody's on here and has watched DevTools and DevCool, so Nick's the co-host there, and he had found out, or somebody had found out, that Datadog had a Launch Darkly integration or had a Growth Book integration or another feature flag vendor integration. And so we were like, oh, we could probably do that. And like Nick hacked this in like a couple of days and then brought it in for testing. So this was like him just kind of going and exploring the platform. And I wish that I knew what the uptake of it was, because I don't think they actually show downloads on their page, ?
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Yeah. But I'd be really interested to know.
The tough one is this one's hard for us to track, because it's just kind of like, it's just kind of posting data directly from our client's application without really talking to us. It's more of like we're helping with formatting and stuff, right? So the only way for us to like see it is if they like explicitly click on the docs from our end. But
yeah. But so cool. And I think like, it's like this, this was kind of the start of our like really big investigation into integrations. And then open feature, like May was really when we jumped in like full tilt. And so I think I had even been invited to join the open feature meetings before, but hadn't really known a lot about it. But yeah, so May was really the moment to start jumping into open feature.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess I was provider number 1, and now we've got a bunch of them.
We have like 6 now, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and if you want more information about Open Feature, very cool vendor agnostic standard for feature flagging. They're big. We talked about them earlier. Go back in the stream in the VOD and kind of you can hear a little bit more about that. But we've got providers for a bunch of different languages now. Yeah, so then this was also kind of a quality of life one, right? Like the expandable JSON editor.
Yeah, anyone who's working in JSON for variables tends to work in large JSON. So just having a bigger frame. Like at the end of the day, you're not gonna use like our platform as a full-fledged like JSON editor. You're more like if you need to really work in your JSON, you'll probably do it in like VS Code or whatever your code platform of choice is. But yeah, like if you're coming in, you need to edit like a large JSON blob. Like that is a much better way to do it.
I love it. So I haven't played around in our JSON, but because it looks like we do like
we
code
do
highlighting and
yeah,
formatting
and
stuff.
Formatting and like validation and stuff like that. Obviously, I mean, even if you layer in the schemas, we can do like full validation. But yeah, for like at least if you're missing a comma or something, it'll tell you.
Ooh, and I feel like we've just talked about JSON. I feel like that's going to be coming up in a second, is the JSON schemas. Yeah, type editing.
Yeah, just giving more flexibility on being able to modify variables after you've kind of created them, and particularly from within, the feature management screen.
Could you not do this before? Interesting. I guess not. We released it as a new feature. SDK visibility. So I've never used SDK. What's the use case for SDK visibility?
This is like if you want to explicitly exclude certain types of SDKs. So let's say you are using DevCycle server-side and client-side, and you for some features, you do not, regardless of what you've set the targeting as, you do not want that functionality or that feature flag to show up at all, even in like the config. Even if you I don't have the code in my client app, but I want to make sure it's like a walled garden and I never even have it show up in the config on the client, then SDK visibility controls that. It basically says, hey, like exclude from delivery to configs for client or mobile or server side or vice versa.
Cool. Love it. Amazing. How are we we're 5 months in. That's a lot of feature releases.
And you have 7 minutes left.
We'll get there. Yeah, so then we did like local bucketing for our PHP SDK proxy. This was a big-ish deal.
Well, I think we talk about it maybe a little bit later on, but it is the precursor to the multi-platform kind of like relay proxy. So the relay proxy is fundamentally like how we run the PHP SDK, because the way PHP works.
Yeah, it does not work well, not for these kind of things traditionally. So it's amazing. Yeah, so schemas. So we were talking about this earlier, JSON schemas. So this is a big deal. Having a variable schema that you are able to implement was an internal conversation that I think really has paid dividends, because there's nobody else that has this. Like this is a very unique to us feature.
Yes, and it's that idea that I was talking about in terms of like guardrails over like locking down for users. So here, let's say an engineer is someone who is the person who implements a variable, whatever it is. That variable can have hypothetically any value, and some of those values could potentially break your application, right? But traditionally you'd either not allow someone who wouldn't have the knowledge of what that variable is to be able to push to prod. But with this, what you can say is like this in our platform, you can define, what values a variable is able to accept, and then the interface will just like not allow you to put anything but those values in. You can, if it's like a string, you can do like an enum where it's like, okay, I'm literally just selecting from a list of acceptable values. If it's JSON, you can put in like very explicit like regex rules that say, okay, it can be a JSON of the structure with these key value pairs, and the values of these can come of this format. So lots of flexibility, super cool.
Huge. I mean, yeah, just in terms of like ensuring that this process is consistent and smooth for everybody. I love it. All right, so then later in June, yeah, some SDK enhancements. Definitely, we leaned into TypeScript stuff a lot more. Python SDK updates. These have been kind of like very. We were very excited. There's a lot of updates actually in June, but the big one was July. CLI update was massive. This was like. The team was talking about this for months before we released this, and I think one of the coolest things that's been released in 2023 was this really kind of like next level CLI.
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting part of the CLI is more than it being great on its own, it kind of becomes this foundational thing for creating any number of other integrations on top of it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then there's other stuff that came off that. Yeah, so some more Python stuff here. Targeting rule updates. So Python stuff, like, this is great. I love Python. I'm not against Python, but like it just keeps getting more exciting. Exciting is maybe the wrong word, but I think these are cool. I think these are like really useful updates.
Just simply, this one was just like actually making it possible to copy the values in the targeting rule fields. So just a simple quality of life thing, small but
big. Yeah. I feel like that's the like saying of the DevCycle 2023 year. It's like small but big, or big and big. Reusable audiences was also a big release, took a lot of time. And if you haven't seen audiences, definitely go and check it out. It'll make more sense when you go and look at it, but fundamentally this is about your targeting rules and having the ability to kind of set definitions around who is who. And it's super powerful. It's the same thing you would traditionally do in your targeting rules, but solves you having to repeat the same process over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think the thing that I see as biggest use case is you tend to have lists of it's like reusable lists typically is the way it is. You have like list of like, hey, I don't have to worry about, putting in, what it means to be like a DevCycle QA user. So I'll have an audience that's literally just like internal QA. Cool. And I don't have to worry about anything else. It's put internal QA. And as that list gets modified and for various reasons, it just propagates everywhere.
Yeah. Super useful. I knew stop saying powerful. Self-targeting, yeah, so that ties into what you were talking about there, right? So like self-targeting, we were talking about this earlier. So because there are some environments where you may be locked out, / like you don't necessarily want to have to go and like do targeting rules in the individual areas that affects everybody. This is sort of like a by user ability to go and change targeting rules for specific environments.
This gives you the ability to set like a user ID for yourself within your application. Like, okay, you're telling DevCycle, hey, when I connect to my app, whatever it is, connects to DevCycle, this is the user ID that I am logged in with. And with that, we can start, outside of actually modifying any of the targeting rules of the feature, modifying any part that would actually say impact the stability of your app in production, you can just turn the functionality on and off, or whatever it is. You can change your targeting, but just explicitly for you, which is awesome.
Yeah, which is very cool. And again, a very unique feature to DevCycle that doesn't exist out there with anybody else yet. People are looking at us though. Yeah, and then kind of speaking of the self-targeting stuff and the CLI stuff, there was obviously a focus now on trying to make more and more of these things available via the CLI. So basically, anything you can do in the UI, you can now do in the CLI. Not everything, but we're getting there. Some more kind of
quality of life things here with the collapsible targeting rules, just kind of changing the UI there. But yeah, September was also a big month. The VS Code extension, which I don't like. Uptake has been really good. I don't know if enough people realize that we have this, because I think it's a really awesome way to start to visualize features in your existing projects.
Yeah, I mean, it like the uptake of the VS Code extension is higher than the CLI, so it's pretty decent.
Really? Interesting. I love that. And so if you've never tried the CLI before, CLI is really about kind of visualizing and seeing, and like you can't, I'm pretty sure that this is still true. You can't actually go and change the states of variables, but you can visualize where all of them are and get insight into what state they're currently in on the platform, etc. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Say again?
No, it's okay. Just with this is much more about being able to get insight in your code into where flags are versus controlling it. But then you've got the CLI to be able to do the control. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to extend the VS Code stuff to be more, creative. I think we do some really interesting things. Like, I don't think I want to, like, I mean, I obviously don't want to like recreate an entire platform in VS Code, but like, there's some really interesting things. Like VS Code has the context of the code you're actually looking at, right? Whereas when you're in the DevCycle dashboard, I know you're looking at, this feature, but I have no idea what part of the code you may be looking at in VS Code or whatever your IDE is. So you can be a lot more contextual about, what controls you give someone, what they're able to do, what, all that stuff. So I think it definitely would be more around, QA or like engineering specific features, less about fully managing a feature in VS Code. But I think there's some really cool things we could do. Yeah,
I agree. I totally agree. Cobi, we're at 2. Do you got a couple more minutes to finish off the year, or do you got to run?
No, I got a few more minutes.
All right. We're almost there. We only got 3 months left. Thank you. Listen, Cobi, we haven't done one of these feature focus streams in like 3 or 4 months. So
you asked me once and then you never asked me again. So
it's true.
I assumed I was just like, I wasn't as good as you hoped I was.
No, you got to save the best. You got to keep those rock stars for those special, right? Like they don't call Cobi in at any time, right? They call Cobi in when. Oh my God, I just got that. Done. Cobi's not going in for every game, just going in for the I don't even know what they call the basketball. Good Lord, that's bad. I need to start watching sports. All right, so DevCycle Proxy came out in October.
Yes, this was the expansion. We were talking about the PHP SDK fundamentally like leveraged what it was going to become the relay proxy. This is our SDK proxy. So multi-language support, all that stuff. But run a single kind of proxy within your environment, so you can control kind of like ingress and egress of data, and then have whatever multi-platform kind of like SDKs connect to said proxy.
I like it. $5 words of the day, ingress and egress. I love it. Also, we got really good later in this year about like architectural diagrams and like overviews on how we work. And I think we're doing more and more of these things. And so go and look at this. If you haven't, just go into the documentation and like you can kind of get a walkthrough of what this looks like. We also have this for, Jonathan did one up for our system architecture. So if you ever like, how does the DevCycle platform work in general? There's some like really good diagrams that are in here now. All right, so we had that in October. Did we not? November was a quiet month for us, I guess. We just like didn't do anything. We just all took November off. No, we were busy in November getting everything ready for December. That's true, actually. There was a lot of big things that we pushed out this month. Like considering that it's been like we're not even finished the month yet. We've got a lot out there. Mm-hmm. So big one, this one is, I think is going to solve the problem for a lot of people that are thinking about like feature flags and technical debt and lifecycle management.
complete feature status. If you haven't seen it, you can kind of see it showing up there in the GIF, but the ability to actually mark in platform what state a feature flag is in and kind of when it's complete, incomplete, like the idea of doing that has never been done before, to my knowledge, and actually makes the use of feature flags at scale, I think, sustainable. Like, that's biggest complaint that I've heard about feature flags is, okay, I'm done with them. What now? How do I know when I'm done with them? Like, how do I manage them? This is definitely the answer.
This ties in with a bunch of things. One, this will make sure that, hey, if you're done with the rollout, but hey, like this I want these variables. I want to know that these variables within it are kind of like statically delivering a certain value. Complete allows you to do that, and then it helps you to do cleanup, so it ties in pretty well with a few other features that I think you're about to show off here, and the code cleanup that I guess came in 2022, so we didn't go through it, but a few things kind of pair together pretty well here.
Status indicators. Yeah, there it is. So again, like kind of you have the complete status, you have these indicators now. You can kind of go in there and see all of these different pieces. Yeah, it's just like these little things make such a big difference in the world. I think this is kind of the nature of feature flags, right? They're this small thing that has a huge power in your stack. And with that power comes like all of these little idiosyncrasies that can make them either better or worse to work with. And so I think a lot of the stuff that we've done kind of leads into that.
Yeah, it can get pretty complex pretty fast if you're not being careful about how you design a platform like this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, complexity, turning flags on and off. So I had this conversation. Oh no, I guess it was in our public Discord. So somebody came on into our Discord a while, like maybe a month ago, and they said, like somebody went into my platform and or went into DevCycle and they turned on a flag. And I really wish that I had the ability to know who turned on a flag or turned off a flag so that I could go and figure out what's going on. And it's interesting actually with a much larger product, even this morning, there was a situation where a change was made somewhere and there was no way to tell who made that change, what the change was. And so it starts the alarm bells going off. And so this is big. I think all of the things we've released this year are really awesome. They show the quality of code that we're putting out there and the fact that we're listening to developers. This is big. This is definitely one that a lot of time went into this, but it's so needed in this space.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll end up doing probably a technical blog post on this, but we definitely ran through some interesting challenges. I think we're trying to leverage some interesting, we had kind of a basic audit log for a while, and it was, I can't remember what technology was powering it, but we were kind of struggling to get the things that we were looking for out of it. So it was a bit of an interesting technical challenge to, resolve how we monitored for all the different changes that were happening, made sure that stuff was able to be compiled instantly on save, be able to present it, all that fun stuff. There's a few different layered things there, as much as audit logging is pretty easy to understand. It was an interesting technical challenge.
And it's so good, it's so smooth. Every change that's made in there, really visual, obviously visualization was the whole purpose of this, but I think doing this well needed the time that was put into it. And I think it's just so clean. It's probably the best audit, the best log implementation that I've seen. And just it's not intrusive, but it gives you all of the data that you need when you need it. So yeah, if you haven't seen this yet and you're doing feature flagging on your teams, go. It's out there. It's public. It's available. I think everything's available right now.
Everything that you showed off is nothing that makes it to the change log is not, I think, fully available. Anything that we do beta testing on, we don't publish to the change log.
Yeah. So that's a wild amount of stuff that we've released in a year.
Like that's a big year for DevCycle.
Yeah, there are a few meaty things when you think about real-time updates. You think about reusable audiences, audit logs, relay proxy, full open feature support. I don't even think we actually in the changelog go over all of the open feature stuff. I don't think so, because it happened at the time when we were too busy with KubeCon.
Yeah. So if you're not sure what we're talking about, we'll do this in the new year. We actually just released over on devcycle.com/blog, like a big conversation on open feature, and sort of like why we use it. And then I think there'll be a follow-up in the changelog about all the open feature providers, because we've got a lot of them now. So stay tuned for that. Okay, what was your favorite? What's the favorite feature that released this year, Cobi? Like, if this is the feature focus, what's your favorite feature of the year?
I will give a shout out to Kate and Adam. My favorite feature, and I will say that I gave them a hard time because as designed, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be right. But then when the first time I used it, I was like, this is actually quite delightful, is self-targeting. Like, it was very slick. I was like, it just seemed over the top. And I was like, there's like simpler ways to do this. But yeah, I think they did it right. They knocked it out of the park. It's cool.
Yeah. I think audit logs kind of gets it for me, mostly because I feel like so many of the other, I like being able to explain easy things, and audit logging is a really easy thing to sell, especially the scale of feature flags that a lot of people are using. I also just think the implementation is very elegant. So another shout out to Kate, because I think she was PMing both of those projects this year. So huge shout out to Kate, but also like big shout out to our other project managers and Vic and stuff they did, like CLI, awesome. VS Code extension, awesome. Like all the big swings that we took this year, I think really, really hit. And I just want to get this on camera. Like our engineering team, I know you don't necessarily see and hear from everybody, but y'all are killing it. You're killing it. You're releasing features every single day that are absolutely fantastic. And like, you should be super, super proud of what you did. Our product team, marketing is easy when you've got a good product, right? So it's hard to have a good product if you even if you are selling it in the right way. And also like shout out to our sales team. I feel like shout out to everybody. Shout out to the exec team. Shout out to our sales team, product team, marketing team, growth team, I'm sure I missed some team. There's a lot of work that's gone on, a lot of things in the background this year as well, and some really exciting things. Am I going to dox myself here or not? I don't think so. No, there we go. We've got some stuff coming out in the new year. Why can't I? Is this it? Yeah, here we go. We got some exciting stuff coming up. This is actually done. A lot of this stuff
actually done. So if you go to now, we have in beta. So this is what's not showing, the outbound webhook. So taking all the audit log stuff and being able to subscribe to that data. To build integrations or do Slack notifications, whatever you want. Patch API, so working with your audiences and be able to just patch individual IDs into that's I think SOC 2 Type 1 is just about to be announced. Yeah,
I think so too.
And then we talked at length about the standardized onboarding example app stuff that my team is working on.
I'm so excited for this in 2024. I feel like this is going to be a game changer for people looking to use our platform. Nobody's really doing this well. I think across this space of feature flag management, nobody's quite figured out the way to make it really, really accessible. Some of the platforms have a good UI and good UX, but I don't think that anybody's really thought from the soup to nuts, start to finish, getting it in your code, getting things created really fast, the stuff that I'm excited. I think if you're watching the stream, be ready for some cool new changes coming in 2024 that are going to make you want to feature flag. Like if you don't want to feature flag now, you're going to want to learn how to feature flag and what feature flags are, just so you can use some of these onboarding things, / they're going to inspire you to become a feature flagging champion. But yeah, and then we got lots of stuff coming up after that. Like next year's going to be a big year. I also want to just give, as kind of our final moment, because we're a little bit over, I just want to give a big kind of spoiler. We were in, a bunch of us were in Portland last week, on Friday last week. We were filming something. What is that something? Time will tell, but it's going to come out early in 2024. Going to go along with some other stuff that we are doing. We've got a big announcement about another conference we're going to, sort of end of Q3. So there's going to be so much stuff coming. We've got content coming at you too in the new year. I've got our content calendar started. We're going to be at conferences. We are going to be anywhere you are. If you are a developer and you are looking to find DevCycle, you're going to turn around and we're going to be there. You won't be able to hide from us, is really what I'm saying. We're everywhere. Even if we're not there, we are there. And so I think it's going to be a very fun 2024. I think we had a wildly successful 2023. We got some great new clients. We got more stuff coming out of that in 2024, some new customers, and them talking about their experience with DevCycle. And yeah, Cobi, are you ready for 2024?
Yeah, I think so. I'm ready for, 2023, the end is not the snowy weather that I would hope for. So in terms of being ready for 2024, I'm ready for January. I'm a skier. I want some snow. So yeah. And then I think the product is, I think there's some fun stuff that we're working on. Yeah. So yeah.
Are you coming west for the holiday break, or not until the new year?
I am hitting the road on the 26th.
And then you're coming west? There's no snow here, my friend. It's what do they call it? It's the Pineapple Express right now. So we are very warm. Ski hills are closed.
Well, Fernie, where I'm going, is like has snow. It's weird. It's been dry. It's been cold enough, but they're drier than normal, which is unfortunate, which shouldn't be the case in the Pineapple Express scenario, but they have not, at least they are not looking like Whistler. That's
probably for the best. It's good to have a little bit of snow at Christmas, especially if you actually want to enjoy said snow for the purpose that it was created, which was to ski down it very fast.
Exactly.
So with that note of ski and winter and snow, we have reached that point, the final moments of 2023 with DevCycle. We've been pushing out content this year as well. Like we've got a ton of videos out there. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, check it out. There's some great videos there, cool tech explorations, seeing how DevCycle works with things. Spend your holiday just watching DevCycle content. But I think with that being said, I would like to wish everyone a very happy holiday break on behalf of DevCycle. Enjoy time with friends, with family, by yourself. Eat, drink, be merry, do whatever you need to do. I know this is a difficult time for a lot of people, but hopefully you can find some time and space to relax and be sure to come and say hello to us in the new year. We'll be around, and if you need us, you can find us everywhere. You can find us on Discord, you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on X, on YouTube, all of the places that we've been. We will be there in 2024 again. So, Cobi, do you want to have the final word of 2023? He's like, nope.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I
it's
did
okay.
the weirdest thing, and I just opened up the YouTube live stream, and it was like a couple seconds behind, and so I was like super confused. I don't know why I decided to do that at that moment. So yeah, very awkward final word then.
There we
I think
go.
you said it great. Happy holidays. Thank you so much for having me. Hopefully I did you proud.
You did me proud. Listen, Cobi, you're back. I might even have to hand over Feature Focus to you and the product team in the new year.
And I can only do it with your steady hand and guidance.
I like it. Thank you for that. It keeps me employed, and I will take that. So, everybody, Cobi, thanks for the final word. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for joining us all year. We're so excited to have you as part of the DevCycle community, and looking forward to seeing you all in the new year. Bye-bye, everybody.